Supreme Court petition. How likely is it for that to be heard and have an impact on the trial going forward?
I think there's a really slight, almost infinitesimal chance they're gonna take cert on the case. It's been scheduled for conference on April 25th, and that doesn't mean a whole lot. Any cert petition that's valid that gets in front of them, they schedule for conference, but it doesn't mean it's going to come out of conference with people being interested, and it actually doesn't even mean they're actually going to talk about it on that scheduled conference date. Sometimes they even look at decide that they want to talk about a case at a conference and then put it on for a more meaningful conference. The percentage of cert petitions that actually get granted, meaning they get accepted by the Supreme Court to hear the case, is so small. It may be as low as 1% of the actual cert petitions they receive. And remember, there's sort of already a very heightened self-selection process because people don't just randomly apply for certain cases. It has to go through a really lengthy appellate process in state courts, et cetera, before, depending on what kind of petition for cert it is. And I just don't think that the Supreme Court is going to think this case is this situation, this set of facts is provocative enough. And what I mean by that is it needs to be a novel, interesting issue that really is going to fill a gap or a void that's been left by prior Supreme Court law. And I think the issues that the defense have raised are potentially valid, but they're just not provocative enough. They're not unique enough. They're too similar to a case they decided about 12 years ago. And I don't think the defense's attempt to differentiate it from that case I don't think they make a strong enough argument on the facts. And so I don't think that the Supreme Court is going to take this case. So it's not going to interfere with anything. And in fact, Justice Jackson denied any stay. I think that happened yesterday. Mm-hmm. And so I think that 4/25 date, the April 25th date, is going to come and go with nothing important happening on this case whatsoever. And I think the trial is going to have to just keep going forward.
Mm-hmm. And then as far as just these jurors that are going to be picked, how much work ahead of them with all the evidence in this case, all the witnesses, do they have in the next couple of weeks?
I mean, they have a lot of work. They're going to see a lot of evidence. They're going to see a lot of physical evidence. They're going to hear from a whole bunch of different experts who have contrary opinions. I mean, they've got to buckle up and pay attention. And, the last jury was incredible. They really got invested in the case. They did a very thorough job of deliberating. They stuck with it for a very long time. If you believe the reports that came out after the trial, obviously the reports are that they were going to find her not guilty on 2 of the counts had they been given that opportunity. And so I think I think that we have no reason to suspect that this jury isn't going to be as meaningfully invested. It's impossible to find a jury that doesn't know about this case or an individual juror that doesn't. Hopefully they've found a jury that can legitimately remain impartial, but obviously they've satisfied the parties and Judge Cannoni that this group so far that they found is impartial enough. I think there's sort of a mythology around jury selection that you need to have people that are completely objective and impartial and people that have heard nothing about the case. Everybody's heard about this case. And they're all going to come in with some biases. And it's just a matter of hopefully having enough impartiality left and enough ability to really pay attention and weed through the mountains of evidence and testimony they're going to receive.